After 5 to 6 interview rounds, when you finally feel that now job offer letter is on the way, instead of job offer, you get this weird email which says your profile is on hold. I know how dreading it feels because we all have been into that situation, and we start evaluating and blaming ourselves that this must be because of some of our silly mistake that we did in the last interview round, or maybe the HR round. Maybe I wrote something wrong in the email. Maybe I said something wrong in the conversation. That's why the job offer is stuck or hasn't come yet, or the profile is on hold. But guys, after knowing these reasons, which I'm just going to tell you, you will get to know that most of the time it's not about you at all. So in today's video, I'll share what are those possible reasons that are making your offer stuck, or that are making your profile going on hold. So though there can be thousands of reasons, but I'll be sharing the most common reasons that I have seen in my career of being a HR into IT companies so far. So if that is something that interests you, keep on watching. And to begin with, the number one reason is that you were always a backup. What does it mean? It means the company started interviewing you without actually having an intention to hire you. Confused? So what happens is sometimes companies identify a candidate to offer, they offer the candidate, and during that process they realize that this person might not join, and then they'll be in trouble. So in such scenarios, companies start preparing for a backup. Now, in such cases, if you were next in the queue, whose profile was most suitable, second or third, then they will reach out to you and they will take you through all the interview rounds. And when you clear all the interview rounds, you finally reach the offer stage, and then company does all the negotiation, everything is done, and then they say your profile is on hold. What does it mean? It means that they are waiting for that first candidate to join them. So if that candidate joins them, you'll get a rejection mail, and then you'll think what went wrong. If that candidate do not join them, then you will end up getting the offer letter. That's how it happens. Now, second most common reason on the list is that the project is either delayed or it just disappeared, vanished. So many times what happens is companies start hiring for a project that either they are anticipating that they will get, or that project might be in process of getting finalized with some company's customer. So for that, company starts hiring so that by the time project is finalized, they have resources, they have employees to work on that project. Now, if for some reason the project got delayed or the project just went away, the client might have said, see, we do not want to work with you, or we have chosen somebody else, or we are just not doing this work anymore. So whatever the reason may be, in such scenarios, companies cannot go ahead with your hiring. No matter at what level you are in the process, in the interview process, even if everything was finalized, you were just waiting for the formal offer document, the company will not go ahead with your hiring. Why? Because it will be a cost for them, because the reason they were hiring you doesn't exist anymore, because that client was supposed to pay for your position. Now that client is not there, so the company cannot bear your cost, so they are not hiring you anymore. So in these situations as well, guys, it's not about you, and you cannot do anything to make things better in such situations. So just move on. Now, the next reason on the list is a less expensive candidate has been identified. Say, for example, you were in the interview process, everything got finalized, and the HR also negotiated your CTC, gave you a confirmation of your new CTC on the email, took your approval that you're okay with the new CTC, everything is done, and you're just waiting for that offer document. And then in the process of that, the manager identifies a candidate which is half the cost to them. Now, in most scenarios, companies do prefer quality over the cost majority of the time, but sometimes the job or the role can be such that the quality doesn't matter much. I mean, they do want a quality candidate, but if the candidate is not a rock star, it's okay, it's doable. It's not an R&D role that if the person is not a rock star at the skills, then it will cost them even more. So when this is not the case, the manager says okay for a candidate who is less in potential than you, but is also less in cost in comparison to you. And when that comparison of cost is significant, that impacts the decision even more, because then manager would think that it will save the cost for their department, and then they can hire 2 more people in the same cost. So that also happened, guys. So take it easy. It's not about you. Now, the next on the list is your background verification delay or failure. Sometimes what happens is your previous employer takes a lot of time to respond to the background verification. So the company keeps waiting, and when you follow up that what happened, they just say that your profile is put on hold. And the reason is that your past employer is not responding. Now, the company in such a situation thinks that it's a waste of time, sheer waste of time, because in the meantime, they could have hired somebody else who could have just started delivering the work. And in such a situation, if the employer doesn't respond at all or doesn't respond within the time frame which the company expects, then your report will come negative. Your BGV report will become negative, and then you will think that your background verification has failed. In such cases, it's not failed. Your previous employer didn't say that you were a bad employee or anything was wrong with you, but they simply didn't respond. So in such cases, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you give the correct information to the best of your knowledge. Do not fill your forms basis your memory. Take out the actual certificates and actual experience letters, and then fill the dates and everything, the contacts basis that actual document, so that when the company reaches out to them, it goes to some legit person and they can respond on time. So that happens a lot. And also, if your background verification have come negative, I mean, if the company has said something bad about you or the data doesn't matches, then obviously it's a background verification fail. In such cases as well, you will not receive an offer. Now, the next on the list is the SPOC is off duty. The person with whom you were coordinating the entire process, the recruiter or the HR, might be off duty for many reasons. Maybe it was an emergency in which they took leave, or maybe it was a termination for some reason. So in such scenarios as well, you'll not receive any response and your profile will go on hold, because until and unless the new person start the process with your profile, it's going to be on hold only. And the new person will have their own priorities. They will give priority to their own positions, then catering to this one. So in such situations as well, you can't do much. You have to wait what happens next. Now, the next very less known reason is internal restructuring. Internal restructuring means that the company is trying to redesign its hierarchy, or maybe departments, teams, or something about their structure, organization structure. So this majority of the time happens when there is a major crash in the market, when the company is trying to change the technology that they are working on. If scenarios like this happens, the company freeze the entire hiring process with immediate effect, no matter how junior level profile or how senior level profile they were hiring, and no matter at what level the person was in the offer process. Everything will go on freeze then and there only. Nothing will move. And this happens more often than you and me realize. And then we keep thinking how things can go on freeze just like that. So scenarios like these do happen, guys, and we cannot do anything about it. It's just you can say matter of luck that has put us in such a situation that our offer got hold or on freeze with internal restructuring. Now, the final point on the list is quite obvious one, which is that the last interviewer who spoke to you gave a negative feedback about you. Now, it may happen that the person who took your interview in the last round, he or she might not have liked your profile. Maybe they were doubtful about your potential, or they didn't like your personality or your skill set. And if that person is in a position where he or she can influence the rest of the interview panels, which can be like 5-6 of them, then in such cases as well, the feedback of this person will weigh more than the feedback of those 4-5 people collectively. So this also happens, and you cannot really do much. And I would say, if this happens, be glad that you did not get offer, because otherwise what will happen is, in such cases, if you do get an offer and you join, then that one person will continuously try to find out negatives in your performance, in your personality. Unnecessarily, due to their ego, they'll try to prove the other panels wrong. Everyone should agree on the decision of hiring a candidate. If a person who is at a very high hierarchy level, if that person disagrees, it mostly doesn't turn out really good. And especially if that person is directly related to your work, or maybe where you will directly work with that person day to day, you have to speak to that person day to day, then forget it. Your life will become a nightmare if you join that kind of setup. So guys, that was it. Here is a quick summary of all the reasons that we discussed in this video. And I really hope after knowing all these reasons, you do not blame yourself and you do not doubt your potential, because as we just discussed, everything is not about your skills or your potential. So with that, I'm signing off. You keep on watching more content on the Corporate Diaries to be corporate ready, and I'll see you in my next one. Till then, stay safe and healthy. Take care. Bye.